All right, to the town manager for the town manager report.
I'll start with the board, committee, and commission vacancies. Following is a list of vacancies. One vacancy on the Architectural Preservation District Commission. One vacancy until the next annual town election for the Board of Assessors, which that is the meeting that is for this Thursday for that one vacancy. One vacancy until the next annual town election for the Cemetery Commission. Two vacancies on the Finance Committee. One regular member and one associate vacancy for the Green Communities Committee. One member at large vacancy for the Open Space Committee. One vacancy until the next annual town election for the Park Commission. And one vacancy on the Personnel Committee. Anyone interested in any of these openings can fill out a volunteer application that is found on our town website, complete it and return it to the Select Board's office. And if you have any questions on the roles and responsibilities for these positions, you can contact the office at 978-582-4130, extension 144. For employment opportunities with the town, the following is a list of current openings. The assistant to the sewer business manager is 19 hours a week. The assistant town accountant is 32 hours a week. Assistant meal site manager is 19 and a half hours a week. Conservation administrator, which is 36 hours a week. Finance director, which is 40 hours a week. Heavy equipment operator, 40 hours a week. Principal assessor, 40 hours a week. 2 seasonal cemetery laborers, and 1 videographer position for 2 to 10 hours on average. More information on each of these positions can be found on the town website under job opportunities, where you can find how to apply.
If I can just ask, Madam Town Manager, but I think I need to start saying probably Madam more often. For the positions of Conservation Administrator, Finance Director, and Principal Assessor, do you think you're close to a hire on any of those roles in the next couple of weeks?
No.
Okay.
And that's all based on what we're receiving for applications. Yeah. And that's why I reported on some of those openings last week's meeting on the status.
You know, I've seen these posted on like so many different websites, from Indeed to the state website. I mean, it's like, this is everywhere. And so it's really sad that, are you getting any kind of feedback, or is it on, I know sometimes people will email very rarely and say, hey, I like this job, but I don't like this. Are you getting any feedback on anything?
I think it's just generally those positions are really difficult to fill right now.
Yeah.
And we're not alone
Yeah.
in this struggle to fill these types of positions. There's less and less people going into this profession. There's more people retiring from this profession, and not enough people funneling into it. So that's why I think it's important to start that process with the state and really advocate for, a pathway for people to go into this profession and how we can attract more.
I will continue certainly to do that. What I saw just for the public comment is what I saw when I was looking this up was that I think there were 8 or 9 other principal assessor jobs open in the state. I saw several finance director positions open within like a 35-mile radius, including some positions, I think Concord or Lincoln, I think it's Concord that's posting at like $180,000 a year. And it's like, how can we compete with that?
Right.
Yeah, you can't. And then Conservation Administrator, I also saw several roles open for that. So it seems as though, we're in the same boat as others. I know it's hard on staff right now to get through this time period. And, I know it's hard. So I just want to thank you and your team and everyone that's working for us and with us. I know we count these hours up, 40, 40, 40, 3 roles already, you know what I mean? And it's not hard to see how we're short, 200 plus hours. And it's a lot of work on everybody else.
Yep. It's the same message I gave in July about staffing. I can't manufacture people. There's just not the applicant pool that there used to be when we were advertising for openings. And we're trying to support our staff as much as possible and bringing in consultants to help with outsourcing and helping with the rules in a limited way, filling interim positions, 10 hours a week for our conservation administrator, just to, anything that we can get is more than nothing.
Yep.
So,
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
you know, it dawns on me that maybe one thing we can attempt to try to do something is, you know, we have the upcoming MMA meeting, the annual meeting in January, and I'm wondering if we should write a letter, and maybe through the town manager, through her association with the, you know, the Mass Association of Town Managers and Town Administrators, that we ask them to put a presentation together. I'd love to know from the state and from the rest of the state municipalities as well as state government, like, what steps are they doing to address this? I mean, again, we are obligated in many regards with some of these positions about what they need to do and what the state regulation is. And to the town manager's point that we can't manufacture people, I'd love to know what they're doing to encourage people to get into this field. Because it's not just on the towns and cities. I mean, and there has to be some relief from this, because eventually you can't cripple a town by not giving them final valuations because you can't get people to do the job.
Yep.
So,
And it's the lack of, something I know I've said this to Senator Cronin, Representative Kuchmarek, and also Representative Scarsdale, is, and this is going back a couple of years, is that we need pathways. What are the
Right.
pathways? And that's what you're speaking of.
Yeah.
What are the pathways to get into these jobs? And, if you're the person, most people in Massachusetts live in a city. And, if you grow up in Worcester or Boston or Springfield or Holyoke, do you even know what a lot of these jobs are? Probably not. And so how do you tap the population and get them excited and interested in pursuing these things? Like, are there any, what are the degrees coming out of college that there's no jobs for? And is there a way to kind of reorient this in another way? Is there a way to work with our state colleges and get programs up for conservation
Right.
agents or, some of these critical roles? And that's what I've been urging the state to our delegation to do. And I think that we do have a meeting coming up next week, and it's a regional meeting with Representative Scarsdale, and I will definitely bring this up at that meeting, because it seems as if, we're in this region being really impacted by this.
but I think the state level is a great thing, but I think the MMA too, we should suggest that they have a seminar for one of their programs in municipal hiring and attracting people to municipal occupations, because I just don't think people are going into it. And, I'm sure there's lots of reasons. I'd like to know what they are instead of guessing what they are, but it would be helpful to have other people discuss it and say, okay, how did they try to resolve it? Beside raising pay. At some point you could raise everybody's pay and probably attract somebody, but then you never can go back and it really is that commensurate with the job itself. So, it's a very delicate balance. I'm not against paying people fair salaries, but we can't just pay people because it's a competitive market, because it's never going to go away that way. We can't match Concord's 180,000. It's just not going to happen.
I did write an email to our delegation last week to advocate that they address this at the state level. And so I also wanted to bring to their attention that through one of my professional associations, which is the Small Town Administrators of Managers, that the governor's office has sought out comments from that association on things that we would like to discuss. And so that's going to be one of my topics that I'll
Absolutely.
be addressing
Good.
in my letter to them.
Excellent.
So it is, something that hopefully will get more traction. And I think it will be a common theme among, and be supported by a number of communities, to have the state step in and help with this. Like I said in my July message, there is a program for accounting, but there's nothing for assessing at the college level. So
Yep.
it would be good to have something similar to that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Update on the September 11th flash floods storm event and the MEMA situational awareness update on upcoming rain. Although it is estimated we've received over 7 inches of rain from last night's storm event. The damage in town is of no comparison to the devastation in our neighboring city of Leominster. Senator Cronin's office reached out if we had any initial damage assessment that they could include to request state relief funding, as they were doing that for the city of Leominster in their request. DPW Director Bill Bernard put together an estimate of approximately $24,000, and this was forwarded to Senator Cronin's office at the end of today. Representative Kushmerek also reached out to see if we needed any assistance, as did our North Central Chamber of Commerce. And I have to say, right before the meeting, also Representative Scarsdale did as well. Today, I shared a post from North Central Chamber of Commerce, as they have created a dedicated email hotline for businesses affected by the flood event to contact them for assistance. That email is help@northcentralmass.com. I would like to thank our public safety staff, including our fire department, that responded with the engine, ladder, truck, dive truck, and boat to assist Leominster. The engine and ladder truck responded to calls in the city and assisted with evacuations on Exchange Street. The dive truck and boat assisted with evacuations at the Meadowbrook Trailer Park. Also, thank you to the DPW crew who were out until midnight last night, closing certain roads that had flooding issues and clearing out drains until they were passable. With the expected additional rainfall tomorrow and Hurricane Lee effects over the weekend, MEMA issued a situational awareness update, and I'll quote them. The National Weather Service, in conjunction with MEMA agency meteorologists, are predicting another round of showers and thunderstorms on Wednesday. High humidity, coupled with a slow-moving cold front, will run the risk for heavy bouts of rainfall, mainly between 12 p.m. and 10 p.m. Rainfall rates of near 1 inch per hour may occur across portions of western and central Massachusetts Wednesday afternoon and evening. While these showers and rain and thunderstorms are expected to be more progressive than they were on Monday, any storm that produces 1 inch per hour rain rates, especially over a previously hard-hit area, is likely to cause additional instances of flash flooding. Drier weather is expected to return Thursday afternoon and into Friday. And MEMA is actively monitoring Hurricane Lee through this week as it makes its way up the East Coast. Daily coordination calls with the National Weather Service, National Hurricane Center, and MEMA Command and General Staff are underway. Future information on pre-event planning actions, activation, coordination calls, and response posture will be updated in the coming days. So hopefully none of that comes to fruition, and Leominster gets on the path to recovery. An update on 925 Mass Ave, which is one of my goals for continued goals for this year. The EPA has approved funding for additional work to be done at 925 Mass Ave. That would include soil boring, soil samples, monitoring well installation, groundwater sampling, removal of the hydraulic lift in the building, closure of the floor drain, and removal of the floor drain holding tank. Due to concentrations of VPH in the underground storage tank excavation groundwater samples, new groundwater monitoring wells and locations where each underground storage tank existed would be done. Soil samples will be collected from each soil boring to provide additional site data, and the work would also include collecting groundwater samples and updated groundwater elevation data. Since environmental conditions beneath the building are current data gap, the work will include removal of the hydraulic lift located inside the building to evaluate conditions beneath the building and evaluate the condition of the hydraulic lift to determine if the hydraulic lift may be contributing to the concentrations of PCBs detected in the previous soil samples. Once the lift is removed, a soil sample will be collected from the hydraulic lift pit for analysis of VPH, EPH, MCP metals, and PCBs. Additionally, the work will include closing the 2 existing floor drains located inside the building and removing the floor drain holding tank located south of the building. To evaluate soil conditions around and beneath the holding tank, the contractor will collect 1 composite soil sample for analysis of VPH, EPH, and MCP metals.
And if I may ask, can you just remind me on My understanding is we haven't taken possession of the property yet, right?
Yes, we have.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why I'm like, okay, that was the lack of confusion. All right, okay.
Yeah.
So then, once this is all said and done, it's for us to decide the future disposition of.
That's part of the real estate technical assistance grant I applied for, so that would be, so doing conceptual development plans, market analysis, and developing the bid documents to sell the property.
Okay, and I think I'm remembering, it was the last winter that we took possession of the foreclosure
It
process?
was 2021 we started the process.
Yeah, but as far as when we finished it.
2020, I'd have to look at the dates,
Okay.
2022. There's a one-year redemption period
Yeah,
after foreclosure, and that passed without any action.
all right. And then just as a reminder to the public, all this is being funded right now through an EPA or DEP grant?
EPA,
Okay. All right,
yep, that's, very beginning, the EPA approved funding for additional work.
all right, thank you.
Update on infrastructure, facilities, and IT. The LED streetlight project, Pine Ridge Technologies began the LED streetlight conversion project on September 5th and ran into issues with wiring on a majority of the streetlights they have attempted to convert. We contacted Unitil and are coordinating a meeting between their electric operations manager and the vendor tomorrow to review what is being documented in the field by the contractor. In the meantime, our contractor will proceed with the conversion and will address any wiring issues as they are encountered at each site.
And the bottom line here is cost.
Yes.
You'd think a utility company would properly install lights as per the code.
I think that's the purpose of the meeting between their electric operations manager and our vendor to discuss what they're encountering in the field and wiring code.
Okay.
Update on the senior center ADA patio project. That project is expected to be complete by the end of this month, barring any issues. This rain does not help the situation. The ribbon cutting ceremony will be October 11th at noon. TC Passios roof. There was yet again another leak at the TC Passios building that occurred over the weekend. After speaking with the facilities director and discussing everything that has been done to try to find where the leaks are originating, the patches that have been done, and that the roof is over its life expectancy, he's going to seek quotes to repair that roof in phases. A warrant article has been submitted for the special town meeting as a placeholder. And that is an agenda topic later on. The new website, the question that was raised about accessing the town website on an iPad and having to double tap on the feature. So our current website under QSend, they would have to redesign, basically redo that whole feature and rebuild it. And there would be a cost associated with that. So we will not be doing that since we'll have a new website in about a month. But the new website will, you'll be able to access it normally.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Third quarter preliminary tax bills for fiscal '24. The letter the board authorized the chair to sign to request authority to issue third quarter preliminary tax bills for fiscal '24 was sent to the Bureau Chief of Local Assessment once we received the signed version from Chairman Jeffries. I'm awaiting a response.
If I can pause there, I signed this last week. It was sent to me via DocuSign. I signed it last week.
Okay.
Okay.
I received it Monday.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe it was on a Friday.
You said you're waiting for me to sign it.
No, I'm awaiting a response from
Oh, okay.
Bureau of Local Assessment. I sent it after I received it from you.
Maybe I got that confused. Okay. Okay.
Once we received
I
the
got
sign,
it.
yeah.
It's this receive.
Okay, sorry.
I'm like, whoa! I signed that.
Once we received, sorry, there should be a D.
Yeah.
You're all set.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
I did receive confirmation from our BLA field advisor that the third quarter preliminary tax installment cannot be more than the amount of the first quarter preliminary tax installment, and that's per IGR 23-1. This year, a pro forma recap sheet, which does not contain valuation information, will need to be done to issue a third quarter preliminary tax bill, and actual tax bills cannot be issued for the third quarter. Once we complete the certification process at the end of January, beginning of February, a tax classification hearing can be held and a fourth quarter actual tax bill issued, and a normal tax recap sheet submitted to DOR.
Okay.
Clearly, I would just if I may, Mr. Chair, I mean, as we said, we should remind people of the differences of the tax bills this year and keep reminding people so no one is caught unawares about how this is going to work, because it's going to be very different than in past years.
And it's gonna seem like a much larger increase in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Because usually that's spread out over 2 quarters.
Right.
So,
Right.
we'll try to do projections as we're working with our vendor Vision on what a, possible bill might look like.
And as I spoke with the town manager about another subject, and this came up today, as I said, when Vision, we have to mail the mailings within a month of the due date, so we're not going to make February 1st, so it's going to be May 1st. But we should allow as much time as possible for people to look at the numbers and try to, make sure they are comfortable with the money and save the money for that payment. So whatever we can do to get them out sooner than later is going to be important for people to prepare.
Yes.
Is the Board of Assessors, are we aware if the Board of Assessors is providing, I'm asking this to anyone, if they're going to be sending a letter to residents notifying them that this is happening? Would that come from, our office, your office? Other than our meetings, is there a way to inform the public of this, like in a letter?
We can prepare something that goes along with that third quarter estimated. And I believe in the IGR on this, there's a sample
Okay.
tax.
And if we need to, I would recommend a joint letter between the two boards, just so people are aware. I mean, if we can put it in the bill, good. If we can do something publicly and put it on the website, even better. So there's any way we can hit people, because the last thing I want is on April 15th, 2 weeks before they're due, to have people say, I never heard this is new to me, and all that.
Okay. Thank you.
And lastly, a budget update for health insurance for fiscal '25 and future years. The Assistant Town Manager, HR Director, the Payroll Benefits Coordinator, our health insurance broker, and I met with our health insurance account representative last week for our annual review. We were advised that due to the state of the healthcare industry and medical trends, we should budget 10% for active plans for fiscal '25 and expect 8 to 10% increases in health insurance rates over the next 5 years. This was explained as that it's due to low employment in the medical fields and hospitals renegotiating their contracts, and therefore insurance rates are trending high. Our retiree renewal for calendar year 24 is estimated to be a 6% increase.
So just for clarity, in the sentence that says we should budget 10% for active plans for FY '25 and expect 8 to 10% increases in health insurance rates over the next 5 years, I'm assuming that means annually for the next 5 years.
Correct.
Okay, not 8 to 10% over 5 years, but,
Correct. Each
okay.
year.
Each
we should
year.
budget.
Yeah,
we should
that's what I thought.
expect
I just want to
8
be sure.
10%
Yeah,
increase.
we're back to old days now.
Yep. And with a budget that only grows by 2.5%.
Right.
Right.
We got a dream sequence of years in there, but when I started on the finance committee, we were looking annually at 8 to 12% every year. And like you said, Mr. Chair, when you only can raise the budget, when it's a huge number to begin with, and you only can raise, rates 2%, 2.5% plus whatever the new growth is, you wind up playing a sliding game, going the other direction.
All right. Thank you. I want to turn to Selectman Imke if you have any questions to the town manager related to the town manager's report.
No, thank you.
All right, any in the room?
I do not.
Okay.
Thank you.